getting a little loosey-goosey. Let's start this video off by asking, who does this motorcycle appeal to? And I can honestly say that this bike appeals to a wide variety of riders, ranging from the hoonigan who wants to bust dank nooners, to the city rider who cruises through town, and also the cross-country tourer. This bike appeals to a wide variety of riders because it is capable of a wide variety of things. So let's get into why you need this bike. The number one reason for why you need this bike is it is powerful. I just busted the tire loose in first and second gear, and this bike is super fun to ride. It puts down its power just like a Super Sport, a 600 motorcycle would, and it's got a lot of middle and top end to it. And as you know, this engine is derived from the R1 engine, just slightly detuned, and it is extremely powerful and extremely fun, and that makes this bike great to have. But it also makes it really easy to get in trouble on. Now, for the second reason as to why you need a second-gen Yamaha FZ1 is because it is comfortable. Unlike the aforementioned 600 Super Sports, this bike is super comfortable compared to those. You're not hunched over at all. My shoulders are down and back, and I'm sitting in a pretty upright position. The only thing that is pretty similar to a sport bike, I would say, would be the angle of which your knees are bent, because they are pretty tucked up. But that also gives you the ground clearance that you want for when you're leaning. And speaking of R1s, that was an R1 that I believe has the same motor as this. But this bike overall is super comfortable, and she likes to lean too. I don't want to get too hard into it. This road's bumpy. And with how comfortable this bike is and being able to lean it over, you could easily take this bike to a track day and be comfortable the whole time. And that's a pretty big reason for why I really like this bike. But let's get on to reason number 3. All stator issues aside, this bike is pretty reliable. I have heard of people having over 100,000 miles on these bikes and with very minimal maintenance, so they do have longevity in them. Because it is the R1 motor and it's slightly detuned, it is not under the same amount of stress that the R1 would be under. It is a lower compression, so I believe they dropped the compression on it as well, so that makes this bike run a little bit less stressful even when you are getting on it. So that is a great reason for why you should get this bike, because it is a pretty reliable machine, and you always are looking for reliability when it comes to your motorcycles, because you'd rather be riding them than fixing them. And I can say that from experience. And reason number 4 for why you should get one of these bikes is because you can pick them up for relatively cheap. They're selling these bikes from anywhere from $5 grand on the high end down to $2,500. I even saw one for under $2,500, just over $2 grand at $2,200. So these bikes can be picked up pretty cheap. Granted, it wasn't in the best of shape, but you're getting a sweet motorcycle that's comfortable to ride, fast, and you can just do a lot of stuff with it. It is very versatile. So because you can get these bikes for super cheap and get such a great motorcycle for the price, I highly recommend picking one of these bikes up. And then we go on to the 5th reason and the final reason of why you need to get this bike. And that's because it is just extremely fun to ride. It doesn't matter if you're in stop-and-go traffic or on the interstate or tearing up the twisties. This bike will have you smiling at every turn and every twist of the throttle. This bike is extremely fun, and I recommend this bike to anybody who's looking for that hoonigan bike, that commuter, or that cross-country tourer. I definitely recommend this. In conclusion, This bike appeals to a wide variety of riders, and if you are on the fence about getting one, check out some of my other videos, but also take into consideration that after all of those problems I've had, I still love this bike and enjoy riding it. So with that, guys, if you like what you saw here today, please help support me and support this channel by hitting that like button and subscribing for future videos. But until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching. Peace.